Today is September 19, 2023. The Lawrence Board of Zoning Appeals is called to order at this time. I need a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes for July 18, 2023.
Before we vote, I have one question. When I read the minutes, I couldn't recall our case. Has it always, for 25 years, I've been looking at these things and we've never named the petitioners?
In the minutes, I do.
Well, it doesn't here.
Yeah, it says petitioner's representative Misty Nye.
Yeah, but it didn't help me remember.
Oh,
I couldn't
what it was?
remember it was
Okay.
Starbucks.
Okay.
It's
you want-
no
I can
big
add
deal.
that?
I do move that we approve, but
Okay.
it was awful. I couldn't remember what the case
Tom,
was.
Your son-timers is not, I mean, I love you though.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor signify by aye for approving the minutes.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. Minutes stand as written. If you've not done so, please sign in at the back of the room, and anyone wishing to speak tonight, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Answer with I do. I do. Thank you. Do we have any special requests tonight, continuance, withdrawals, or waivers?
We need to continue, it's an automatic continuance for petition 23 LSE 08 7140 East 46th Street. The petitioner, I'm sorry, hold on. I have to let people in. Okay. The petitioner put on that the meeting was going to be on September 2nd, which was a Saturday, and I'm not working Saturdays. And I don't want you guys to either, so it's continued to October 17th. She will be sending out additional notice.
Okay, thank you. The board now will be hearing new business, 23 LSV 09, 4403, 4411, 4421, and 4429. Petitioner proposes to erect a 25-foot tall standing business identification sign with an additional element. The proposed sign requires a variance of development standards of the City of Indianapolis Consolidated Zoning/Subdivision Ordinance, Chapter 744, Art IX, Section 07C1. The proposed additional sign is located within 450 feet of a protected district and a partial visual obstruction. 600 feet of separation required unless sign is visibly obstructed. Yes, sir.
Thank you, and good evening, Chairperson Lytle, members of the board. Joe Calderon, representing Crew Car Wash. With me tonight is my colleague, Evan Kennedy, who was going to have to do this in case we were further down the agenda, but this is his first BZA that he's actually prepped for, so hopefully I'll do a decent job and get him motivated to come see you guys again. Last year, we were here at the end of the year to seek a couple of variances for the Crew Car Wash, which is being built as we speak at Pendleton Pike and Franklin Road. And you were gracious enough to approve those variances. Lo and behold, the sign contractor, Signcraft, applied for a permit, and they were told they needed a variance for the digital reader board sign that they propose. That sign will be located kind of at the south tip of the building, of the property, I should say, closer to the intersection. You can see that in tab 3 of the exhibit book that I have given out. So it'll be set, it meets all the setback. The sign, in fact, meets all the requirements but for one, and that is there's a rule in the zoning ordinance that says you've got to keep these things a certain distance from protected districts. Protected districts, for the board's benefit, if you haven't heard of them before, are residential zoning districts, park districts, school, church, those types of uses where they might have some special requirements between a commercial or industrial use and those types of uses. For these types of signs, the rule is Keep them 600 feet away from protected districts unless you are visually obstructed, in which case you can have them within 400 feet. Well, here, in this case, if you look at tab 1, you can see that there are apartments, Franklin Glen, to the south of Pendleton Pike and kind of tucked behind Hardee's and the Strip Center, to the south on Franklin Road to the south of Pendleton Pike. That measures, I think the Lawrence measurement came in at 456. I think I measured 448 or so from the sign to the building. It's not precise, but it's satellite imagery. So anyway, we're seeking a variance for that very reason in that particular standard. Now, the good news is, and we want to treat apartments fairly, I mean, they're residences as well. So in our experience, what we typically do in these types of cases is that we kind of mitigate the effects of these signs through the use of commitments. And in this particular case, we have drafted commitments that you'll find in tab 6, which really exceed the standards that are set forth in the code and really what the city has looked for. But these are what Crew has done in its program all over the county in terms of making sure that these signs operate in a manner that isn't too obtrusive to the neighbors. And that includes no blinking, flashing, that type of thing. Every message will be on for at least 30 seconds, so you're not constantly distracted as a pedestrian or part of a vehicular traffic. During rush hour, both morning and night, we'll keep one message on the entire time, and we'll turn the sign off overnight from 10 p.m. to 6. I think the staff report suggested midnight. We do 10 p.m. To keep it consistent as they program these things. So in our experience, these commitments are very helpful to the boards that are making decisions, because we do realize that, you know, if we're going to have this type of technology, we want to use it responsibly. The sign will look much like the Crew Car Wash signs that you've seen around town. You can see the sign rendering in tab 4. The reader boards on the bottom, just the Crew trademark sits on top, and that's not a changeable sign. So the sign, while it has sufficient size, isn't overly obtrusive from a size perspective. You can see in tab 5 some of the pictures that I took from on the ground from a couple of weeks ago. Now, granted, I was not on the second floor of these apartments, but you could see, at least from a ground view standpoint, you really can't see, looking from the apartments to the north, you really can't see Crew Car Wash because of Hardee's in particular, and then other commercial that is in between that and Crew Car Wash. You can see in the third page of those photos, this was kind of the top picture, was a view I took from the main parking entryway into the apartments, looking at the one building, the north building, that does, from the second floor, have probably a couple units that could see the sign, and you can see it in the last page. That there is not a complete obstruction, but a partial obstruction. So the commitments, I think, make sense. It's not going to keep people up at night, and that's why we do that, is protect residents, whether they're living in a single-family home or an apartment. We appreciate the staff's support of this, and we would certainly entertain and appreciate your favorable recommendation. We did put forth findings of fact in our application. We'll incorporate those by reference, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time. Thank you.
I want to let the board know, we have these commitments on all of our electronic signs. What we had in place is that the sign will be turned off between midnight and 6, and they said 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And the other one says the screen will change messages no faster than every 6 seconds, and they're saying 30 seconds. So they are going one step above what we have asked for in the past. Is there any questions at this time? Thank you.
Thank you. We did send out notices, by the way, posted signs on the site. I have not heard a thing. That's not to say that people wouldn't show up virtually or in person to ask any questions, since it is a public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any remonstrators for or against the petition? Sharon, do you want to speak? Thank you. With that being no remonstrators, we'll hear from the City of Lawrence, Corey Korn.
Nope, you want me to do it? Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to make this real quick. As Becky said a moment ago, they are meeting our requirements. They are exceeding our requirements. There is one, number 7 on here, no advertising banners shall be located in the windows on the same side of the building. There are no windows, so that doesn't apply. Okay, so, but otherwise, we're not seeing any issue with it. I did go out and look from the crew site and saw it looks like maybe one apartment will see it, because I can see a balcony and like 2 sets of windows. But it's mainly when they're on that balcony that I think they're going to be able to see it. So it's one resident being affected, and I think that's an acceptable variance. So we are recommending approval.
Petitioner, you have anything else to add? Okay. Board ready to vote?
We have to do roll call because we have JD virtual.
That's why we don't have a ballot.
No ballots today. What you got?
I need,
Here.
yeah. No.
What do you want?
What we're voting on. I need this. Thank you. Okay, the board is,
You want the commitments? Is that what you were wanting to read?
well, I'm not going to read them all.
Okay.
Okay. We are ready to vote on 23 LSV 09, 4403, 4411, 4421, and 4429. Petitioner proposes to erect a 25-foot freestanding business identification sign with a digital element. The proposed sign requires a variance of development standards of the City of Indianapolis Consolidated Zoning Subdivision Ordinance. The proposed additional display is located within 400 feet of a protected district with partial visual obstruction. 600 feet of separation required unless sign is visibly obstructed. They have met all 8 of our requirements with the exception of number 7, and they have exceeded some of them. So you're going to do roll call?
Yes, so roll call vote. We're going to start with Rebecca Lytle,
Yay.
Tom Crouch,
Yay.
Faith Alvarez,
Yay.
Trace is absent, JD Mazur.
Yes.
Thank you. Shell, Carrie,
Yay.
and Chris is not voting today, so we are unanimous.
Your petition has been unanimously granted.
Thank you very much. We'll get the commitments recorded and sent over to Renee for her records.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no more new business or old business, the Board of Zoning Appeals is adjourned at this time.
Thank you, everyone.